Two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
It's Statements Monday here. I know we have some Vikings stuff lined up that we will get to start with. We just got done recording a Flagrant Howls episode where we went, pretty much all three of us just went in on the WNBA and how just disgusting the officiating felt last night. I wish I would have seen this tweet for that episode, but the WNBA tweeted last night after the officials just took the game and gave it to the Liberty at the end of the fourth quarter. The trophy is right where it belongs for the 2024 WNBA champs, from the official WNBA account, with a video of WNBA commissioner, is it Kathy Engelbert, wearing a New York City skyline dress while she hands the trophy to the Liberty.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
It is like Vince McMahon late 1990s stuff. Just coming down, knocking out the official, and then amazing, man. So yeah, if you want that full gripe session, if you're steaming from the ears about the Lynx Liberty game, Flagrant Howls is your place here. But boys, some Monday statements here. Who wants to start?
I'll go. I'll start off here. My opening statement here from, we'll start with Vikings. My statement is very simple. Spam the Jefferson button. Please spam the Jefferson button. So, coming out of the first half yesterday, all right, Vikings are trailing now for the first time, and significantly for the first time all season, basically. And they come out and they feed Justin Jefferson. First drive out of the gate, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 48 yards, 1 touchdown, single-handedly helps lead the Vikings down for 6 points and makes this an interesting game. The rest of the way, 19 offensive snaps for the Vikings. 1 target to Justin Jefferson after that. And another one being a pass attempt, technically a rushing attempt in the stat book. Dude, spam the button. And Sam, get it to him when it's 3rd and 4 and the game's on the line and you're up by 1 point. This guy's a superstar wide receiver. And yes, I got the notes. Oh, you're watching the game? He's double coverage bracket. Oh, my bad. I wasn't watching the Vikings game. I didn't notice that. That's my apologies.
Lashing out at people.
But at the same time, dude, he's one of the best. He is the best receiver in the game. Spam it to him. Target him like crazy. Come on, Sam. I know you can do this. I know Judd put this on KOC too, and there might be a little bit of that. I tend to lead more on Phil's side of, dude, Sam Darnold, you're the quarterback. Feed the wide receiver, the star, the football. Yeah. Spam the button.
Well, we also know that Kevin O'Connell has gone on the record saying, yeah, of course they're going to bracket and double cover him. It doesn't matter. We still find a way to get the ball to him. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough. And then Johnny Munt was like your second most targeted guy in that game. Yeah. For 5 targets for 8 yards for the best third tight end in the National Football League.
Unbelievable. And a drop. All right. My statement is this. The loss was tough. I get it. Detroit's a very good team, perhaps. They have to be considered the class of the conference, and certainly one of the best teams in the entire league. But the Vikings are still a good team. In fact, the Vikings are so good that they're going to win their next 4 games and be 9-1 entering the November 24th game against the Bears.
Wow.
At Chicago. I think they are now going to beat the Rams. I said if the Vikings beat the Lions, that I thought that they might be so exhausted and beat up physically. Now, they're going to be beat up, but I think that the loss is going to definitely serve as a motivational factor. They then have the Colts at home. The Colts are not terrible. The Colts are actually playing pretty well now, but it's the Colts at home.
If they start Joe Flacco, I'm more nervous about that game than Anthony Richardson.
Sure. And then they got the Jaguars and Titans on the road. I think they are going to reel off 4 consecutive wins. Now the Chicago game becomes tough. I'm not going to guarantee that. But I think the Vikings are going to be 9-1 entering that game, their last game of November against the Bears at Soldier Field.
Yeah, it's not even that hot of a take. Like the hardest game is the Thursday at LA.
Just a weekend statement.
Yeah, no. Otherwise, you probably would have put that on your hottest.
I thought about it, but then I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's 4 games. Like the Rams game is tough. I don't think the Rams have suffered a lot of injuries. Their offensive line has been a mess, but the Rams are a well-coached team, as we continue to talk about. The Rams have some nice pieces. But if you get past them, Colts at home, I like your odds.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, like, just take them seriously. And the Titans, same thing.
I think it was Dex that brought this up on the Purple Daily Hottest Vikings takes in one of our discussions that 2 years ago when they were winning all the games, their wins were all just by the smallest of margins, just these fourth quarter comebacks. You win a game by 3 or by 5, you're losing in the fourth quarter, and then your losses were just getting your doors blown off by 20 points or 30 points, home losses. And this year it's like, okay, well, if you're going to barely win your games, then you're going to get blown out by the best teams. How good are you actually?
Right.
It's the opposite this year where you are, or it's a level up, I guess, where a lot of your wins are either blowouts at the end or blowouts that turned into closer games, but you had a wide margin throughout most of the game. And then your one loss so far is just one of the best teams in the NFL kicks a game-winning field goal and barely beats you by 2 points. So much more sustainable to continue on this path, lose a close game or two to some good teams. But yeah, you can't like stumble at home against the Colts. If your biggest sin so far this year in 6 weeks is a close loss to the Lions, okay, dust yourself off, get back on the horse and keep going, right?
I, in some ways, was more disappointed by the second half in Green Bay than I was at some portions, at least, of the loss to Detroit on Sunday. I felt the second half, because you were up by so much, right? And you sort of started to falter. And Green Bay is good, but I'm just saying that lead was so big. I actually came out a little bit more unsatisfied. I thought the second half, Sunday, definitely faults there. That was a great half of football, though, man. That was two teams with a quarterback edge for Detroit in a big way, right? That was two teams and haymakers.
Yeah.
Haymakers.
Totally random trivia nugget here, but you bring up that Green Bay game. The Vikings have now played in 2 games that ended with a final score of 31-29.
I saw the same thing last night.
Is that the first time in NFL history that a team has played in 2 games that ended 31-29?
There's plenty.
Is that a scorigami?
Well, it's not a scorigami. Here, I'm gonna.
No, but I mean like twice in one season might be a scorigami.
It's got to be super rare.
Let me see here. So 31.
Maybe Dex can look that up real quick for us.
I am looking this up actually.
I think you might need to send a
so
note
we
to
have had 12. There's been 12 games all time that have ended 31-29.
Wow.
And in fact, so the Vikings had the 2 this year. The last 31-29 final was in 2021. The last time before that was 2012.
Wow.
So let's see here. Yeah, I think this.
And none of them were the same team in the same season.
No, it happened in '87 twice.
Maybe some scab players.
Look at Declan just going to town on this. Doogie
And
would be so proud right now.
It was harder back in the day because the 2-point conversion kind of throws things off, where you could make or miss a 2-point conversion.
So it's like a scorigami. Yeah.
How would you get to 29 points without the 2-point? I guess you could miss. You could miss a couple extra points,
field goals and
a safety,
touchdowns with safety.
Safety would help do it. Interesting.
It is weird.
I see what Judd did. He took one of his knockoff hottest takes and threw it in statements. I'm going to kind of do the same thing here.
Of course I did.
No, it's fine. I do it every week too.
Beyond that.
I do it every
week.
No,
I'm not even.
We all do it.
Yeah, I'm not making fun.
Okay, well, I thought you were coming out.
No.
There's nothing wrong with what I did, officer. There's nothing wrong.
And maybe we can expand on this at some point, but my statement is, I think we can stop with the Sam Darnold 2025 discussion.
Yeah, I love
that. He's been fine, and this is the best he's ever looked. But if it comes down to paying him more than the $10 million he's making to like carry this thing, and now we have to maybe not sign a certain free agent because we're giving more money to the quarterback. You know, margins are tight in the NFL from a salary cap standpoint and in what it takes against the best teams in the league to win. And Sam felt like he was very much along for the ride yesterday. It felt like Jared Goff was driving it at times for the Lions. And Sam was kind of along for the ride, and there was like 4 different moments in that game. The interception, really bad interception, the 3rd and 4, the 2-point conversion, the last 15 seconds where if you can just get a ball out right away, they're giving you the middle of the field. Give Will Reichert a chance for a 65-yard field goal.
Yeah.
And he just... in the highest leverage, biggest spots, he just kind of comes up a little short. Or in any given 3-hour game, he's reckless 3 or 4 times in a way that you really can't have long term. So he's been fine. It's been a success story. Yeah. He's going to get paid by somebody, but I think we can stop with the debate over whether the Vikings should pay him as a free agent in 2025.
Which I thought was ridiculous the entire time. But yes, now I think what Sam is Sam is an apartment that was in terrible shape. And KOC came in and plastered it up and painted things right, but there's still fundamentally there are cracks.
It's like still kind of haunted, and there may be a dead body in the back.
I'm just saying, if you take the wallpaper that KOC put on it, there's still infrastructural problems.
There's still a chalk outline under the rug.
So here's, I think, a very fair takeaway, a very fair statement from that game. But then there's a but what if to it. Okay. Ben Johnson's play calling. Ben Johnson was the best play caller yesterday, in part because he had Goff. But I mean, he is great. Like, there's no question about it. In fact, he should have probably been coaching the Commanders on Sunday, in which case the Vikings would not have had to deal with him. But anyway, I digress. Don't you want to see KO get his, like, Goff, which JJ should be? Like, that's what I want. Like, let's even the quarterback playing field completely, and then let's see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to say that about Goff, but he has become dude, man. Like, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but he's a guy that I think he, for a minute there, until a couple of late bad drives, he was set to be, is it the first quarterback ever to post a 150 passer rating in 3 consecutive games?
Yeah, and 153.8 is perfect, correct?
Yes. So he's been dealing. Also, if you look at the Lions, offensive line, clearly better than the Vikings. I know the Vikings have Aaron Jones, but the Packers basically have, or the Lions basically have like 2 Aaron Jones with Jahmyr Gibbs, who was the best running back on the field yesterday, and then David Montgomery, veteran. He's an all 3 downs back if you want him to be. And then all the weapons they have too. I mean, Justin Jefferson's the best receiver on the field, but Amon-Ra St. Brown. They get a couple receivers, Laporta. It's a nice car to be driving if you're Jared Goff and Ben Johnson.
And if the quarterbacks were just more equal, though, like I think it would be fair to judge Kevin's play calling off of that. Like, if you had a guy that could do, I mean, Goff, my God, that was impressive. That was just flat out impressive. There's no other
He was his last 3 games: 155.8, 153.7. 140.0. Yeah. So that was the worst performance in a month yesterday for Jared Goff. And on the season, he leads the NFL with a 111.5 passer rating. He leads the NFL with 9.3 yards per attempt. And he's on pace for like 30 touchdown passes and single-digit interceptions. So,
wow,
dude's dealing. Okay, back to Dennis.
All right, I'm going to stay in the NFL. Go off the field, but it's an NFL-related take. Tom Brady stinks at this is my statement.
Oh,
Tom Brady stinks at this. It's not working. It's awkward, and also like the haughty marketing commercial of, well, they're gonna doubt you, and here's Michigan Tom and Patriots Tom and Buccaneers Tom of this is the best motivation. The Fox pregame show, which I have been begging to shake up for my entire life since it's been basically the same show for 30 plus years, puts a hologram of Tom Brady out there yesterday. Did you guys see this? Like at 11:30 yesterday? Okay, so it's pregame. I know Judd's at the stadium, so Judd obviously wasn't watching. I have my bloody. I have my coffee. It's a great Sunday start, as I always do. Love the way to start that. And at first, I didn't notice it because I look up and I'm like, Tom Brady's standing so awkwardly. I was like, it looks like, is this a hologram? Is this a green screen? And then it turns out they legitimately patched him into the Fox pregame show in front of the desk, and Jimmy Johnson has to pretend to look at nothing. But he's looking at a hologram, and Brady's rambling on. He can't get his point across. It's brutal, dude. It is not. Tom, we have found what Tom is not good at. It's broadcasting. And Fox, shame on you as well, because this is not working either. It's bad.
I don't mind them taking the shot because he's Tom Brady and he's been great at football, and if he can, and he's he's done the roast and stuff, so maybe he. But now that he's a minority owner of the Raiders and he can't even participate in like the prep calls, the conference calls, and the meetings because it's a strategic advantage. It's weird to have an owner who's the highest paid prime broadcaster for opposing competing franchises games. Why doesn't he just fade out, go be an owner, go help run the Raiders, go find a quarterback and let Greg Olsen, who was awesome on that Vikings game yesterday.
And Adam Amin too. Adam Amin is also really good at play-by-play.
But Greg Olsen was born to do this. Like you listen and you're like, okay, that guy. I mean, I think he is arguably right now the best NFL analyst. Period.
He doesn't miss a detail, and he does it. Good. You can tell how slow it moves for him. He's able to explain things to the casual audience.
Yes.
But really high-level stuff as the bullets are flying.
Right.
And now he's had a few extra years of experience, but with Tom, it feels like everything is moving so fast, and he's got a bunch of information in his head that goes beyond what most normal people would ever think about. Right. But he can't get it out. He can't deliver it in the 20-second clips that you need to. I
also think that this is what Greg does. Like I think the most important thing is, as a former player and you become distanced, are you still in the league as far as talking to people, to your point, Phil? Do you still care? And it feels like, I mean, Tom's got 1,000 things, right? So he's got 1,000 things, and this is one thing. Like you said, he's going to own part of a team.
Yeah.
Shame on Fox, though, for like forcing him. I mean, Greg Olsen was perfect, and they're basically like, oh, sorry, we're paying Tom too much. Greg Olsen took like a $6 million pay cut to do this, too.
It's kind of crazy.
So I'm with Declan. I'm with Declan completely. But Tom, yeah. And by the way, Tom, no shame here. Joe Montana tried this. He was awful. Like
Emmitt Smith tried
there's a long list. There's a long list of superstars
Drew
who have
Brees.
been paid. Yeah, exactly. Drew Brees is a perfect one. But you know what? They're not good at it. It's okay.
Witten, the Cowboys tight end.
Jason Witten was so bad he went back to playing.
That's right.
He went back to the Cowboys and played. But yeah, and the problem is, it's like, well, but this guy was a great talker, or in Tom's case, just a great player. He'll be great. No. I mean, this is a tough job. It really is. It's a tough job, and you got to care about it. I think the best, he's faded now, but I think the best I saw for a long time as far as what Olsen is doing now was Collinsworth. Collinsworth for years was unbelievably good because he cared so deeply.
I still think I know that after a long time, guys become kind of cliches of themselves.
But he's not. But I mean, Collinsworth's fastball days were really impressive because it was a long time after he was done playing, and he was still so ensconced in the entire league that he brought you. I think that's why I think Romo dropped off a little bit because of a year out. He knew everything, right? Mm-hmm. But then you got to stay involved, and I think guys, they retire, they do stuff, and I think it was
like 8 years or
it's been a long time now, and it's like, oh yeah, this play was that in 2012.
Yeah, I wonder if has Fox seen an uptick in viewership? Have we seen any, like has giving Tom Brady $30 million a year or whatever it is benefited them? Has it spiked their ratings? Has it made?
It's football. I don't know that people tune in for, Tom Brady is going to work this game.
I agree.
It'd be more meaningful, I feel like, for Amazon Prime to do it.
Yeah.
Because okay, it's another reason to go to this destination for a one-off game.
That's a good point.
But it's kind of funny because you're paying Tom Brady $30 million to compete with the Red Zone channel, and I'd rather just watch the Red Zone channel. Now, if it's a Thursday night game and there's nothing else going on, okay.
And then poor Terry Bradshaw's trying to do, like the fastest 2 minutes and a half. And
God.
Why
don't they let Menifee do the highlights?
It's wild.
At one point, someone just picked it up and ran with it because this guy's just having a coughing attack.
He did. Dude, so he's going through and he's trying to read this copy that other people are writing for him, and they get to the Deshaun Watson injury where he's like, it's clearly an Achilles. It's been reported as an Achilles. He's crying on the cart because his career might be over, And Terry Bradshaw goes, we don't know what the injury is, but we'll keep you posted. It's like, bro. Yeah. It's super weird.
Who are the producers though who continue to give Terry the copy? Like, what are we doing? That's their fault, not Terry's fault.
Does he want to do it? Give it. Maybe he tests well with the old audience or something. And so we need more Terry.
His job is to do highlights, I thought. And now it's like it's become a free-for-all. Let's go back to the CBS studios where someone's going to read a highlight. Just have the guy who hosts the show read the highlight.
Yeah, it's... before Judd gets to his next statement, and we will have Declan fire someone's ass here on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. Underdog, Dex. What do we got going on Underdog right now?
A lot of great things always happening at Underdog. Maybe your fantasy football season is already in the toilet and you want to just draft a new team. I don't blame you. You can do that at Underdog with promo code SKOR. You'll still get bonus cash, up to 50% deposit match from our friends at Underdog. I still see the winning pick'ems everyone sends me. We've shown the, obviously, fantasy football weekly picks too. So if you'd like to get an Underdog, also it's NBA season. There's MLB playoffs. World Series is just about to start. Plenty of great options at Underdog. Promo code SKOR for a 50% deposit match.
Back to Judley.
Gentlemen, the Gus Bus is back. The Gus Bus is back, and it's going down the freeway at 55. If it gets below 50, it's going to explode. But guess what? It's not going. The Gus Bus is not going to slow down. Philip Gustafson, 2 years ago, he was great. Got a 3-year extension. Last year, damn near unplayably bad at times. Was absolutely terrible. He has been fantastic. He has been in goal for 4 of the team's 5 games. Had a shutout going until there was like 1:19 left against Columbus on Saturday night. He's been making the incredible saves at times, but more importantly, he's been making the saves that he should make. He has been really good on the penalty kill, which was brutal a year ago. I think having a training camp start with him being what appeared to be potentially the odd man out, and then basically knowing that Bill Guerin had shopped him and couldn't trade him, I think he got in shape, which I guess he was not in good shape, and that was a big problem last year. The new contract, fat and happy. Well, now motivated and absolutely playing great. The Gus Bus is back, which does change the feeling about the potential. It's like 5 games in, but it changes at least the feeling about the potential, because one of the most important things was the Wild did not get off to another bad start. They've actually lost a couple games in OT, but they are among a handful of teams this far into a season to not trail in a game. They have not trailed in a game. They've lost a couple in OT.
That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, they have played well. And Philip Gustafson, Gus Bus, welcome back to actually being engaged.
Okay, it's very high praise, but
Yep. I just praise him.
How sustainable is his performance? How confident are you putting up your Zolgad residence that he will still be performing as one of the better goalies in the league in 2 months from now?
You know what? From what he showed 2 years ago, and the fact that he is now mentally and more importantly physically prepared to play, yes, I think he can have a very good year. I think it's certainly a red flag that coming off a good year, getting an extension, he was not prepared for the following season. But yes, I think that the fact that he has now come back far more as the guy who was second in goals against and save percentage 2 years ago, I am putting up at least a couple of rooms that he can sustain this. At least a couple of rooms.
Even
not your office, though, right?
Well, I can't put up my office. I can't lose that. It's too important.
Even the advanced metrics, goals saved above expected, and then goals saved above average. He is a plus goalie in both those categories. So that takes league average save percentage. That kind of is a measurement of where are other goalies allowing shots from and from the shot quantity, and he is outperforming that, and it also matches what he's been able to do traditionally with his GA and save percentage this year. So last year he was negative in that department. This year he has one of the best goals saved above average, and we all know in hockey, goaltending can take you a long way, and maybe there is something here with this Wild start.
And he scored a goal.
The top of the division right now with Winnipeg, so they are a plus 16 goal differential in 5 games. They've only played 5 games. The Wild only played 5 games, but they are a plus 16 so far, Winnipeg, with 3 of their games, 6 goals, and 8 goals. So there's some crazy things happening in the National Hockey League.
Including Nashville, which was expected to be really good. I do not believe that they've won a game yet.
Yes.
They are 0-5, 5 regulation losses. Too.
Our guy Bruno might be in trouble, too.
Poor guy.
They will fire you quickly, as you both know, in the National Hockey League.
And the Wild currently looking up 1 point behind the Utah Hockey Club, the brand new
Utah's off to a nice start. I like them. They're sneaky.
I'm going to go back to the gridiron here.
Okay.
And give you guys this one, because I was multi-screening it, watching Sunday Night Football, mostly for what I thought was going to be the car crash factor. Not a car crash for the Steelers, who looked excellent last night. It was a car crash for the Jets. So here's my statement is, last night's Jets-Steelers game was an incredible, contrasting example of what a stable, competent franchise looks like in the midst of change versus a wild, sporadic, incompetent, knee-jerk franchise looks like. So the Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1968. The Jets have had 19 head coaches since 1968, including 2 in the last 2 weeks, right? The Steelers regularly outperform the talent on their roster. How many years in a row have we been like, oh, this will finally be the year? Look at that quarterback. Look at those. They have no weapons. Their offensive line's a disaster, and they still win like 10 games, right? The Jets regularly underperform the talent on their roster. Look at all these crazy skill position players and Aaron Rodgers, and these cornerbacks are 2 shutdown cornerbacks, and they're 3 games under 500. And then when the Jets make major changes during the week, players just sort of take, it's like 53 different players, 53 different cabs, no chemistry. Everyone's bailing on the team. The Steelers make a starting quarterback change at 4-2, and the team rallies around it. Russell Wilson looks great after a rocky start. So I think a lesson to be learned from the Vikings, if there's ever hard times with KOC, your knee-jerk reaction should not be to fire, change. It should be ride it out longer than just give a smart coach a chance to navigate the storm. And here the Steelers are at 5-2, 3 head coaches since 1968, and the Jets are going to be hiring a new coach, finding a new quarterback, probably finding a new front office at some point in the next couple of years, like they always do. Wah wah.
The Jets.
Yeah, the quarterback too. This is not going to work.
Yeah, I would argue that of all the star quarterbacks we've seen in the last 25 years, the last guy you would want fronting a tumultuous situation is Aaron Rodgers, because Tom Brady is hey, rally around, let's find a way, right? And even Russell Wilson's kind of like that, so even if it's kind of fake. Aaron Rodgers is point at you, it ain't my fault. Get a coach fired behind the scenes and then act like you didn't when you do your Pat McAfee session.
And plus, he can't really move.
Dude's a fraud.
He can't move anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even as a player, he's just not the same player.
Yeah, just as a player. The Achilles, I mean, you cannot be that age, tear an Achilles, and just come back. I mean, Kirk is pushing it.
Yeah.
And Kirk's 37?
36, right? 36.
Yeah, but the point is, I mean, this dude is 40. First of all, it's not normal to play quarterback in this league into your 40s. Favre showed that, and Brady is the anomaly. And then it's like, you tore your Achilles tendon. Did you really think that you just come back and roll around in that little pocket?
Well, and
slinging the ball.
This also and Brett Favre didn't have an Achilles, but he was old in that second year. And it just continues the pattern of the 2010 Vikings season.
It does. Devontae Adams, three catches last night, right? 11 targets.
Yep. You bring in the desperate trade. You bring him in, and then here, this is going to save us. You lose a road game. I think in primetime, right? Because the Vikings didn't they lose that game to the Jets in 2010? Or did they win that?
They lost.
They bring in Moss.
Monday night game.
They lose in primetime.
Monday night game.
Same thing with the Jets. You bring in Devontae Adams, you lose in primetime, and now you're 2-5.
Well, Moss's first game in 2010 back here was Dallas at the Metrodome, or was it the Jets and then Dallas?
It was the Jets after the
It might have been the Jets and then Dallas
Dallas
here, because I remember there was he's playing the Dallas again. It's going to be just like Thanksgiving '98. No, it's not.
Yeah, just like that. Except not really.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's time for Dex to fire someone's ass here.
Yeah. This is no problem for me. We like to fire people's asses across, all sports, not just the NFL where this originated from. This is very easy. After a therapeutic conversation, on Flagrant Howls this week. Kathy Engelbert, come on down. Your ass is fired.
And bring your New York City skyline dress with you, Kath.
Yeah, bring the New York City skyline dress with you. Bring this horrible, terrible officiating system that the league has just been plagued with. Take your rookie phenom player who has helped lift up the WNBA to new views and heights and continue to blackball her and bury her. This is an easy firing, man. It was a historic year for the WNBA. It absolutely was. And again, I feel bad that a person like Breanna Stewart, who's the face of the league and one of the best players of all time in the WNBA, is holding her daughter celebrating a championship in her home state. And there was clearly some murky stuff going on behind it. It stinks. It shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't have that feeling. So, Kathy Engelbert, this is an easy dismissal. You're fired. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with this one. Kind of felt like the whole thing, everything that's been wrong with the WNBA has kind of culminated during a season in which revenue, fan interest, everything has been spiking. The fact that they, merchandise sales through the roof. Now, the TV thing, they have a new TV contract, I think, that kicks in for maybe double the money. I'd have to fact check that, but it doesn't kick in for a couple of years. But so they will see an influx in TV revenue in a couple of years.
Yep.
But yeah, it kind of feels like when the leader of your league, the commissioner, is rocking a New York City skyline dress during a game that was mired by horrible, incompetent officiating and lack of a central replay system. And you got Cheryl Reeve and NBA players like LeBron and Damian Lillard and Isaiah Thomas calling your league fixed, basically. Yeah. It's a bad look.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, she took over in 2019. She's the first. Is she the first? Yeah, she's the first commissioner of the WNBA. There was a president, Lisa Borders, of the WNBA back in the early part of the 2000s.
What's the difference in that between semantics? I've always wondered.
I don't know. I don't know if you have more power or how that works, but yeah, just sometimes you get to a certain level, and if your goal is to get to the next level, it's like with D'Lo with the Timberwolves. Hey, thanks for getting us to this level, right, but we need like an adult in the room and Mike Conley to get us to the 50.
I think I'd rather be a president
than a commissioner.
Like if I was if they're like, you're going to run this league, what do you want to be called? I'd be like, I think president.
You just like the job title better, or
yeah, exactly. Well, I have no idea what the difference is, so yeah, I'm just I'm taking the title.
Did Roger Goodell have the ability to be called president?
Now, the National Hockey League, when they went from John Ziegler / Gil Stein, then to Bettman, was president to commissioner.
I think you want to avoid confusion, though, because you're dealing with unions. So there's like the president of the union.
Okay.
So if you're the president of the league, you're not really the president of the players, because the players are a union.
Yeah.
So I think commissioner causes less confusion, because a commissioner is kind of bringing different entities together. A president would seem to preside over.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I think it's a structural thing.
You might be right.
It's just my 2 cents.
It's a good guess.
Either way, I think she's probably not gonna work here anymore.
Why don't you go ahead and not come in on Saturday or Sunday?
So, all right, there's your statements here. Mackie and Judd on a Monday. Short week for the Vikings, but we will be cramming in all sorts of Purple Daily content over there on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and podcast feed. If you haven't already, maybe you're consuming this on the SKOR North YouTube channel. Click that like button and the subscribe button, and to help us continue to grow this community of Minnesota sports fans. We'll see you guys for a scoop session tomorrow on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd.